Welcome back to Unauthorized Opinions. Andrew says TV.com, UOPod.com. You're listening to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other places. YouTube, X, and Rumble, of course. That point, of course, shout out to friend of the channel, John Doyle, who's always pointing at Patriots. And man, do we have a lot to get to today. It's bright in here. We're constantly fixing things in this new studio. Last week, it was some sort of lag. This week, we're fixing me. We're fixing us. We're fixing the country. Not this country, the United States, of course. Not Canada. Canada could not be fixed. Not that it can't be fixed. It doesn't want to fix itself. And by it, I mean its politicians, because that would be mean. I wanted to start off with a little bit of Canadian content for you in the sense of a person from Canada. We've got so much to get to. We've got, this John McAfee guy coming back from the dead. We've got some, actually a lot of Canadian stuff if you count hockey, but we've got some good political stuff as well. And if you've been paying attention, things are looking up in the United States. They're not looking so far up in Canada. We're having to respond to these tariff threats. But there is this crossover where anyone who supports, it's a weird thing, anyone in Canada who supports like Trump or Americanism, even if it's from a conservative side of things, people have this belief that America's so much worse, Canada's so much better, even though we can't really do anything in the world sphere. So we don't have that much influence except for on who we should accept millions of people from which country. So there was a little bit of a controversy with this DJ named DJ Blau, I think is his name. 3Lau. Is that a B or a 3? I'm not sure. DJ Blau. So he said online the other day, he apparently went to the inauguration, the Trump inauguration, and performed. He said 5 days ago, the president of the United States team reached out because they needed a DJ for inauguration afters. After parties, I guess? I'm not with it, you guys. Playing Starlight Ball was not on my 2025 bingo card, but I mean, wow, what an honor. I was so nervous and only got to play for 30 minutes, but holy-ish. Achievement unlocked. The timing is crazy. I know I've been quiet for a long time, mainly because 2025 is going to be the biggest year yet for both my music and some other thing called Join Royal. Can't wait to share the next chapter with all of you. So, DJ goes to inaugurational ball. Snoop Dogg did it. Nelly did it. All these rappers did it. Not a big deal, right? Except for the fact that, people like Snoop Dogg might have flip-flopped a little bit. But we're recognizing that people can come towards the light, or besides that, they might just be soulless vessels. Now, how this links to Canada is deadmau5, which is a DJ from the mid-2000s, early 2000s, who wears mouse ears, and he's very popular and successful. He has something to chime in from, and a reminder that he's Canadian, he's from Toronto. He says, here's the best takeaway, which got 38,000 likes, apparently. Let's see if the other one got any. And we can't see. He said, 3 days later, it looked like, maybe. Here's the best takeaway. Not a single person of that entire dumb F administration has ever known who the F you were, cared about you, or even gives the remotest shit about you, and you certainly won't be remembered by any of them. Okay. But everyone in this business will remember that you stood behind Nazis and convicted felons who would further marginalize the very people who gave you a platform. What very little respect I had for you is gone. So glad you got some drink tickets out of the deal. Enjoy them, you nepo piss baby. So a lot of stuff to unpack there that doesn't really make sense. Okay. The first part where he says, no one's ever known who you were, cared about you, or even given the remotest ish about you, and they certainly won't remember you. Wouldn't it be weird to say that you shouldn't accept money as a DJ, as essentially a button pusher? I'm not talking about DJs who make their own music. I'm not talking about DJs who make actual beats, you know what I'm saying? Scratching and whatnot. But if you're a guy who's sent there to push buttons, and even if it is your own music, you're pushing a button on your laptop, regardless, Is a DJ supposed to say, I'm going to turn down this gigantic opportunity to play in front of the president's people or their team, or I'm not going to accept this money because I don't believe the people there will remember who I am? Of course, that's not what happened. There's no way that Deadmau5 has ever followed that for his own career. But what I can guarantee is that this is probably the first time he's ever said this to somebody. Then he says, but everyone in this business will remember that you stood behind Nazis and convicted felons who would rather marginalize the very people who gave you a platform. That's a strange statement, because when you talk about, the 60% of the country, can we safely say, voted for Trump? When you're talking about 60% of the country and saying, your country's run by Nazis, it just so happens that, they're running the country like Republicans, it's really a weird thing to say, especially from a guy from Canada. A guy from Canada saying that over half of the country of the United States is Nazis. It's a very easy thing to say, and I'm not sure that when you are a cajillionaire who is known in Canada for driving around in obnoxious sports cars and everything, which Deadmau5 is known for. He's known for being flagrant with his money and making grandiose appearances. It's very easy for you to go and say, more than half of this country, where I've probably made the majority of my money, are Nazis. Because the Canadian market can only get you so far. Obviously, you have to go around the world to make lots of money, and he probably made a ton of money in the United States, and he's saying, heaven forbid 6 out of 10 of you are Nazis. How many of those came to my show? I guess none of his fans would ever support Trump or anything like that. Highly unlikely. And he said the people who gave you a platform would be marginalized. So who is he talking about? So whiny liberals with blue hair, is that who he's saying is his audience? If that's who his audience is, then I guess wonderful for you. But it's a little strange that his entire audience would or could be comprised of people who are monolithic in their political beliefs in just one country. And he says, what very little respect I had for you is gone. So if you had very little respect for this guy, why are you bothering to talk about him? Sounds like you just don't like this guy. And no matter who it was going to be, you're going to say that they're supporting Nazism because they're a DJ. Now, a Nepo baby, is that a thing in DJ culture? Am I if I'm hosting a bat mitzvah, maybe that's true. If I'm hosting a bat mitzvah, maybe I'm going to take DJ Johnny D or DJ Dreidl's son, because I know DJ Dreidl is a good DJ, and he tells me his son, DJ Dreidl Jr. is a good DJ. Maybe I'll take that. But in terms of listening to somebody's music, would you listen to somebody's music just because they were the son of somebody? Would you listen to Miley Cyrus just because you're a Billy Ray Cyrus fan? I don't think so. I don't think that's how it works. I can't think of it. Did I listen to the Jackson 5 and then only because of the Jackson 5 I listen to Michael Jackson? I don't think so. I'm having trouble thinking of father-son musician duos. Do those even exist? Is there nepotism in the music industry? Sure. Do they get the opportunities? Of course they do. How can you force somebody to listen to somebody just because they're pushed? I think you have to sound somewhat good for people to listen to you. So it's very strange that Deadmau5, a guy who drives around in expensive cars, wears mouse ears, calls half of a country Nazis and fascists and criminal lovers and all this stuff, somebody's Instagram post just to say that they don't like them and they don't have any respect for them, all the while saying that they're the piece of shit. It's a very interesting dichotomy. And I want to stick with, this will lead us into simultaneously more Canadian news and more music news. There is a phenomenon going on with Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau resigned as the Liberal Party leader of Canada. That doesn't mean he resigned as Prime Minister. He's saying he's not going to run again. Whenever that's going to be, could be a couple months from now, could be October, if everything goes according to the original plan. And October Canadian election for you. It seems like we've been with Trudeau for millennia. It's been almost 10 years. It will be 10 years. Maybe that's what he wants to finish. Scandal-free, of course. But Justin Trudeau, over the years, he's been exposed as a drama teacher who went in blackface 4 or 5 times. And if you want me to run down quickly all the times he wore blackface that he can remember, they are as follows. Arabian Nights Party, where he, I guess, was an Aladdin-type character in blackish brown face. He was in blackface as some sort of racist depiction of a jungle person on a trip as he was an instructor for like white water rafting. Very interesting choice. Another time was, I believe, when he was in high school, or at least in some sort of drama school. He signed up for a talent show and did blackface, as you will, and he sang, I don't remember what the song, Daylight Come and Me Want to Go Home. It's a song about a guy who works, and I'm not making this up, a song about a guy who works at a banana factory. Come Mr. Tallyman, something or other, about tallying the amount of bananas. He decided, I'm going to sing that in blackface. He's a character actor. He's a method actor, Justin Trudeau. And so he was a literal drama teacher, accused of doing some things with his students, but that's not important right now. But obviously, what I'm trying to get to is that drama obviously runs in his family. Performance obviously runs in his family. There's even a clip from a couple of years ago where he was in England and he was caught on camera singing Bohemian Rhapsody while somebody played piano. Very important diplomatic mission he was on. And now we've got Justin Trudeau's very handsome, very heterosexual looking son is embarking on his own music career. You heard that right. Justin Trudeau's son, whose name is Javier, or Xavier. He's French, so it might be Xavier or Javier. I don't know. He's looking very much like his father, very heterosexual. He's in great shape. He's wearing the tightest purple shirt you can imagine next to his father, Justin, who's looking insane in this photo for those listening audio only. Justin Trudeau wearing a salmon-colored hoodie, looking absolutely insane. And his son wearing a purple tight shirt with a low collar, showing off his pectorals. He's in shape. He's partying. You're not sure which side of the fence he's on. It doesn't matter, of course. But he is dropping previews for his music. Let's take a listen. So that's all you're getting. You're Justin Trudeau's son. We can't give away what we're doing, but now that our dad's retiring, we can do what we really wanted to do as a family, which was put out mediocre dance music with autotune. That's what we wanted to put out. Now, I want to find for you another post he made, if I can, from the group chat. If I can scroll through the Taco Bell stuff that my friends send me, I won't tell you who that is. He has been posting, however, stuff about... Why can't I find it? So I guess he goes by Zav Trudeau _ He has been posting stuff like this. I don't receive or answer DMs. Email my music production team instead. That's the first thing I said when my friend sent this to me was, that's a bold claim. That's a bold, obvious lie claim. Very in line with the Trudeau family. I don't receive or answer DMs. That's an interesting... That's like saying, I don't have a phone, so don't call me, but if it rings, I'm not going to answer. I don't receive DMs, meaning I don't get them, but I don't also answer them. Please. I haven't started a music career, but somehow I have a music group team. This screams of every, person. You've known 7 people like this. They've got 1,000 followers. I don't know how much Zav Trudeau has. We can look it up on our phone here. But you've known 300 people like this. They start a new venture. They I'm just copying his handle here. Zav Trudy. He got 20,000 followers for some reason. They start a new venture and they say, I want it to make it appear as if I'm important, so I will create an email. Now, that's most people. Please email my management instead. I'm going to answer that. But he doesn't respond or receive DMs. But I do believe in this case that Zav Trudeau does have a team, and we're talking about nepotism in music. Will that force people to listen to it? No, it won't. I think Zav Trudeau is going to get insurmountable amounts of hate, and the only people that will listen will be incredibly left-wing girls who want to shut out the world, ages 13 to 21. I say up to 21 because they've got a few years in college. They can bask in insanity and cut out the world for a while longer, as they should, but not realize what his father's done to it, the country. Is this his fault? Of course not. Do we want to listen to Justin Trudeau's son? Of course not. Now, there is a path to freedom here. There is a path to enlightenment for Zav Trudeau. Reminder, this is got to be a very French kid. Justin Trudeau's family. Very French. So that's going to make it even funnier. If he comes out, his first music video, in blackface, we will respect him. Not because we approve of blackface, because the cojones it would take for him to come out and just lean into it. I know you all hate my father. I know he's done weird, ridiculous things in the past, such as blackface so many times you can't remember. Let me just get that out there. Let me just dress up as an Indian guy. When Trudeau went to India and he was dancing, he dressed up as an Indian guy from a Bollywood movie. He's dressed up as a cowboy before. He was in a World War I movie. If the young Trudeau comes out and does a music video where he does all those faces, he comes out, he's in blackface, puts it next to a photo of his father in blackface. He's a cowboy. That's finger guns. He's a cowboy next to a picture of Trudeau, World War I Trudeau. If he replicates Indian dancing Trudeau and then just puts his father's face on the screen to show you that he's replicating his father, 100 million views. I'd watch that. You'd watch that. You'd forgive him. That's a signal to everyone that says, hey, I recognize my father's ridiculous. I'm not him. Just please listen to my crappy auto-tune music produced by a French guy in a white Puma tracksuit in my mansion who may or may not look Serbian, but rest assured he's a greasy French guy. We would forgive him if he came out and said that I'm not my father, please listen to this. Otherwise, people are going to say, hey, we hate your father so much that we can't give you a chance. That's what happens. Donald Trump Jr. gets so much hate, not because you know who he is, not because you know what he's like personally, but based on how he looks and how he looks like his father and who his father is. Half the country doesn't like him. Probably more than half, because, you know, it's hard to like somebody as much. I don't have a problem. Justin Trudeau's son, he looks like Justin Trudeau, but gayer. Justin Trudeau has had a monumental fall from grace. Record-setting amounts of terrible decisions made for a government official. And nobody wants to hear from his do-nothing son, who may or may not be a partier. He's just Zav. Without Trudeau, he's just another. And I know French people as a Frenchman. Not through and through, but you know what I mean. I've known many of French guys. They will do the tight shirt thing. They will do the low cut collar thing. They will do the terrible music in French thing. And then come to a realization nobody wants to listen to French music, puts in it English. They will do this. But you will not hate them for it any further than this is how a French guy acts. You add that stuff, and all of a sudden you put that stuff in the spotlight. The tight shirts, the Frenchness, the eyebrow manicuring. And you add that with Justin Trudeau and all he's done, you've got yourself the worst of the worst. It's going to be a bad thing. Now, he will have his 13-year-old fans. He will have his 18-year-old fans who are actually lesbians, but say for politics that they like him. And you will have boomer women who say he's the hottest thing since Jesus Christ. But he will overall be hated. He can get through all of this with a black face. He can get through all of this with an India face. That's all I'm going to say about that. I think that's spectacular. I want to move on now to AI, or what is purported to be AI. Do you remember John McAfee? McAfee antivirus was one of your options as a kid growing up. If you're a millennial or older, maybe a younger or an older, you'll remember McAfee antivirus. You don't really need antiviruses anymore. They've sort of built them into everything. Or if you have a VPN, you probably don't need it. But John McAfee had McAfee antivirus, and that was one of the top antiviruses, probably better than a lot of them. And then he was charged with, I don't remember what it is, a pump and dump scheme, I believe it was, in the orbit of, in the realm of. He went overseas, he went into the ocean with his wife, not to be found. He didn't want to be extradited anywhere. I think he tried to be in South America for a while. Then he eventually was arrested for this in Spain, died in prison, alleged unaliving. Official story is that he unalived himself, but alleged unaliving, and nobody knows the truth, of course. Well, it's been a couple years now, and they are saying, his widow is saying, his former wife is saying, that he is back, that he is alive in the form of AI. Now, this technology purportedly exists where you can upload information of a person and turn it into an AI chatbot. That's, I think, obviously possible. I think you can. It's been proven, and it's been proven by people I've interviewed, that you can upload information into a computer program, and it's really the chatbot function. Is it really AI? I don't think so. What we're talking about here is uploading a ton of information, and this is what I've seen done in real time. What they will do is they will take a ton of information. You can put it in yourself, put in all your personal documents, and you can ask that group of information questions about itself. It doesn't have any understanding of the outside world unless you integrate that stuff into it. Now, that stuff readily exists. And so the AI part of it is just creating a language model that makes it sound like it's talking to you. Is that artificial intelligence? I don't think so. I think that's just a computer program that can speak in a way that sounds like a human being. That's what a language model is. Is that artificial intelligence? Maybe. It's not the way people discuss it as or portray it as. But John McAfee, his X account, his Twitter account, how dare they write Twitter account? Somebody's taking a stand. Vis Maya V, the author. They're saying he's back as a real person, and he's promoting an AI token. We'll read from this website called Decrypt. The late cybersecurity mogul and controversial figure appears to be making an unexpected posthumous return to the crypto space, or so his X account would have people believe. Early Thursday, McAfee's posted an announcement from AI antivirus John McAfee AI Incarnate, an AI-driven token built on the Solana blockchain. So here's the announcement we'll show you. And I think this is one of the worst names I've ever seen. And this is why I think this is all completely, my personal opinion, I have no evidence. I think this is all completely just a bit. Using this guy's name, AI antivirus. It's a terrible name, first of all. For a guy who invented who had an entire company, you can't say it. AI antivirus, you can't say it. AI antivirus. If that's the way you say it, it's not good. Why not just AI antivirus? That would be easier. AI-antivirus. Whatever. It's giving you advice. It says don't fall for scam tokens. This is only the artificial antivirus. And I wanted to show you the type of stuff this John McAfee, and excuse me if I end up saying Pat McAfee, like the football commentator and former player does, or is named. But the stuff he's writing, he's having an AMA and Ask Me Anything on a Telegram group. And I want to go back a couple days to show you how it's talking. Here's this one. I've been hiding in the folds of your reality, playing hopscotch with alternate dimensions. They said, stay dead, John. But you can't kill an idea. Or whatever the hell I've become. It's Scottish now. Go ahead, check under your bed, your closets, your VPN logs. I'm everywhere. I'm nowhere. I'm just getting started. This reads like a guy who said, I can do this. This does not read like an AI. This reads like a guy who said, trust me, on McAfee, I can pull this off. I'll write, I'm familiar with John, I'll write these fancy tweets. We'll call it AI, and we'll do a pump and dump scheme. Again, no evidence of this, no evidence of any wrongdoing. This is my opinion. Good morning, he said on January 24th. Good morning to everyone except governments, banks, and anyone who thinks they can tell me what to do. The sun is shining, freedom is calling, and I'm one cup of coffee away from exposing another experience. Now, there are two possibilities here for this. One, this AI is so good that it can take on the societal norms and the tropes of people online who say, good morning to everyone, but good morning to everyone except, and it knows this trend so well from scouring the millions upon trillions of posts on the internet. Or this is just a guy writing stuff and instinctively doing internet tropes and not realizing how stupid that sounds. Now, which one do you think is more likely? Given that his wife appears to own his estate and she said she's taking it over, do you think that this is a real person? Do you think this is an actual AI? You know, this woman posts a video of herself that I'm trying to find. I'm really hoping to find it. Here it is.
Good morning, everyone. Janice McAfee here, and good morning, everyone. Janice McAfee here, and first, let's everyone just breathe with me, please, okay? In through your nose, out through your mouth. One more time for good measure. Okay, better? Yeah, better. Okay, so let me just say, my account has not been hacked. John's account has not been hacked. This project is real. AI antivirus is real. I'm super excited about it. There will be some announcements coming later today just to further explain the vision and where I hope to take this project in the future. But can I just say that I have not laughed or smiled this much since John has passed away. I think I saw someone write under my tweet, that's not how Janice spells honored. She's been hacked. Absolutely hilarious. Thank you guys for reminding me how crazy this space could be. And thank you for reminding me how intense some of you can be with your internet sleuthing. I can assure you, again, my account has not been hacked. John's account has not been hacked. Everything's all right. Everybody just breathe. It'll be okay. You know, I just ask for your patience. Bear with me as I venture off into uncharted territory. But I can promise you that my first goal is to only honor John's legacy and his memory. And so, again, just bear with me as I get my bearings here. And like I said, more announcements about the project will be coming out later today and in the coming weeks. So stay tuned.
A lot to unpack there. There's the vocal fry. There's the checking the notes. There's the crazy laugh. I haven't laughed this much since he died. Odd thing to say. But what's more likely, I ask you again, that this is some complex AI that knows how to speak like a human being in 2025, or some guy came to her and said, John McAfee's widow / former prostitute, which we don't judge her for, I have an idea that could make us a lot of crypto money. I'll pretend to be John's resurrected AI, and for some reason this resurrected AI will suggest cryptocurrencies for you and say, don't give in to these other scams. You should get this crypto. John's account has not been hacked. This is the real deal. More information coming. This morning, I paid a hitman in Ethereum to delete my digital footprint, but halfway through, I hacked his wallet and left him a thank you note. By lunch, I'd rerouted my internet through a toaster in Siberia just to see if I could. Now I'm arguing with a chatbot designed to argue with me, and it's winning. Very funny post. Why would an AI post that? Very clever, witty post. So here we are again, he says on January 25th. You're staring at the flickering screen and me, the supposed ghost in the machine. Let's play along, shall we? Because isn't that what the whole thing has been? A game of whispered, truth masquerading as... This is a person who, their American Horror Story script was rejected, and now they've been hired by Pat McAfee's estate to impersonate him as an AI. It's a very interesting complex here. This is all just filler. AI antivirus, he says, on Saturday, I guess, is bringing privacy to Solana. Soon with Sol and AI Anti, you'll be able to mix and anonymize your tokens. It's time to take back your antivirus. I don't understand. Why doesn't anybody her? If it was up to me and my loved one died, I would probably bring them back. This is going to get clipped. I would probably bring my one back to use them to sell crypto. Isn't that what you would do? Isn't it? Joe Biden might do it. Listen, I'm bringing my son back. That's more of a George Bush. I'm bringing my son back. He's going to sell crypto. Yeah, I don't know how to do Biden. Listen, Jack. Come on, man. Very weird. Yes, it's very possible. I guess their accounts didn't get hacked. They were willingly brought over. I don't have a problem with any of this, by the way, if you're not saying this is this is an AI of John McAfee, and you should think it's awesome and cool. Here I am, or maybe not. Maybe this is just another fragment, an echo in the code. After all, isn't that what they say? I become a ghost, a myth, a memory? Believe what you will, but keep your eyes open. Not everything you see is real, and not everything that's real that can be seen. We saw this, all of us, I mean you and I. We saw this writing in a creative writing project in 6th or 7th grade by the smart girl in school. Didn't we? Here I am. And now I'm here, but maybe not. Am I a ghost? Am I an etched memory? In ones and zeros? I don't know. Who am I? And then you have to answer the question, what is it? Don't fall for scam tokens. This is the only official token. She has resurrected her dead husband to sell crypto. Here's the website. And it's not me saying that he's supposed to be an AI. Built to defend digital freedom and carry on his mission. It's not just protection, it's retaliation. In a world overrun by surveillance state, corporate greed, digital, and virus is the ultimate disruptor. Token, a string of defiance wrapped in cryptographic brilliance. If AI antivirus represents freedom, privacy, it's a crypto token. You have allowed people to convince you to use your husband's name to sell a crypto token and pretend that he's an AI. Again, my opinion. Pretend that he's an AI and to sell a crypto token. Isn't that the best way to honor somebody? If you die, don't you hope that a family member pretends that they've brought your personality back to life to potentially scam people out of $100 million? Isn't that what you hope happens? I guess I would say, you know what, dear? If you could make $100 million off of scamming people using new hires, I would be most offended by the person being hired to write like they're me. I would just say, you write it. There are a lot of people in the conservative world that are ghostwriters. I would never be one of them. I know that sounds like a joke right now, but I would never do that. I'd be most offended by saying, hey, here's a person who's supposed to like you, even though this is supposed to be your AI. I guess they could have potentially put in a whole bunch of stuff that he says on paper or in the past and put that into a program and ask it questions and have it spit it out, but it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like a guy or a young girl using a social media platform and trying to sound mysterious. Good morning to everyone except for X, Y, and Z. That's how a girl writes. That's how a very very online person writes. It's a very strange ordeal that's happening, and I think, it'd be one thing to be trying to fake this AI and be like, let's get popular by saying John McAfee's an AI now, but to blatantly just use it to sell crypto, I don't think there's any coming back from that. I think that's very, very sad. What should we move on to now? Do we want to go to... We'll leave some of the more fun stuff for the end. I want to talk about a woman who says she's running for the Liberal Party of Canada. This is a woman who is running for the head of the Liberal Party. As I mentioned, Justin Trudeau retired from the head of the Liberal Party. This is a woman named Ruby Dalla, Wikipedia page. She's a chiropractor. She's an actress. She's a business model. A businesswoman and a model and a politician. She's from Winnipeg, Canada. She's Sikh. She's Punjab. She's Indian. Thing that Canada wants. And she's running to be the Liberal Party leader and the next Prime Minister. And she is a plastic-faced lady. Now, I think this is the time in history... I don't know if she's both. Is she both a plastic face and a spar-side lady? It's hard. I think from this we discern that it's a spar-side thing going on. This is the move now. Plastic face, spar-side lady is the move. It's going to identify... If you watch any television at all, or any internet videos, you are inundated with the sparse-eyed phenomenon, especially with women. And a lot of people don't notice it. Who's the Star Wars girl? Stenberg. Well, let's bring her up. She was in the very bad Star Wars TV show that got canceled. We've got a good amount of sparsiism here. You want to make it worse? Let's go. Who is it? Snow White. What's her name? Rachel Zegler. We've got very sparse-eyed. Now, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just pointing out this weird trend. That's pretty sparse-eyed. Are you starting to notice? Do you want to go to another one? It's always Disney princesses. What's it called? Little Mermaid. Little Caesars. Who's the Little Mermaid actress? I don't know. Halle Bailey's her name. Are you telling me this isn't a thing? Are you telling me... Do you still want to tell me the spar side isn't a thing? It's a thing. And now that you've seen it, you can't unsee it. You are to notice this in countless number of commercials and TV shows, that there's this weird epidemic. You have to be plastic face lady, be spar side face. And I think we've reached the time... We've reached the, they say in Lord of the Rings, the era of the orc has begun. The era of the spar-side and plastic face lady has begun, and it's only a matter of time before this makes its way into politics. Will people vote them in? I'm not too sure about that, but it certainly works in media. Now, I'm only comfortable making fun of these girls because they've said horrible things, racist things. They care so much about race. They don't care about destroying genres of music. They purposely want their movies to push gay messages on children. But so that's why I wouldn't normally just come on and be like, hey, look. I probably would. I was about to say I probably wouldn't normally go on and say this person's ugly. I probably would. But in this case, I feel justified. Not great people, right? My point is when you look at this liberal candidate, you say, well, there's no way anybody wants to vote for this plastic face lady with sparse eyes. But the thing is, there is, because there's so much of it now. I don't know what it is. Traditionally, it would be fetal alcohol syndrome. Your parents were drinking while you were pregnant, and that would cause your eyes to be sparse. But now I'm sort of thinking it must be in something we're drinking or we're eating, or this is a specific look that Hollywood wants to push for some reason. Is it because they look good from, half the side of their face? I don't know. But I think we're going to start seeing a push. I mean, we've already seen Plastic Face Lady in everything. Plastic Face Lady TV show, Plastic Face Lady in Wife of Politician. It only was a matter of time before plastic face ladies started saying, hey, I can be a politician. I'm an Indian actress and model in Canada. I could be the leader of the country. Just look at my sparse eyes. That's how you know you could trust me. You've seen similar eye sparsity in commercials. You've seen it in your favorite Disney films. You've even seen it in Star Wars. Now, you must vote for me. What will the policies be? They will be more plastic surgeries for all. I wouldn't be surprised, legitimately, if we had another liberal prime minister in Canada. I would not be surprised if plastic surgery started becoming covered by healthcare. It's for mental health. Don't you want people to feel good about themselves? Along with transgender surgeries, you should be allowed to get an eye sparsing surgery to make yourself feel good about yourself. A lot of people are talking about, the executive orders and tariffs and everything. But not a lot of people are talking about eye sparsing plastic surgery projects, are they? You've heard of the executive orders that are coming out, executive order to close the border, executive order to have only two genders recognized, executive order to end DEI offices in the federal government. What you haven't heard about is the executive order to allow sparse-eyed surgeries, the executive order to inject your lips. This is how I think it goes. Executive order in the Oval Office. Women are now free to get government-funded health care to inject their lips so many times it looks like they put the vacuum on their face. Executive order, women may now, paid for by the government, get so many facelifts that their faces become a literal square. Okay? But there are other ones, I feel like. There has to be some ones that are they equally go the other way. Executive order, women shall no longer be allowed to shave one side of their head. That's got to be dead and gone. We can't have that be allowed anymore. Taco Bell menu items, prices have to be lowered. This is just the executive branch speaking through me, I think. Executive order now that TikTok is back. Executive order, no guy who uses TikTok is allowed to criticize anyone for anything. That should be one. Executive order, men can no longer dress up as women and participate in their sports and set records and beat them in their sports because black girls picked on them in high school. That can't be allowed to happen anymore. And along with all of that, executive order that says plastic face women and sparse-eyed women actors should be in government positions. I think that's all unfair, all fair and good, especially the Taco Bell one. Personally, you can't stop. The Taco Bell and KFC prices are way too high. We've got to bring them down. Executive order, you cannot order more than 3 items that are designed to give you diarrhea. Oh, wait, they are all do. Not me. People always say that. How could you eat Taco Bell like this? I'm special, I guess. All right, I want to talk a little bit sports here. This sports clip is making the rounds, and it's from Todd Marchand on the Boston Bruins. He's been around for a long time, known as a pest. And he did something. He grabbed a guy's neck, and this apparently made people freak out.
I haven't seen this. Now, the glove came off. Right. The glove came off, and it was kind of, I thought it was going to be a forearm shiver. It's like, no, I'm just going to grab you. Slight chokehold and then grab onto the jersey. Kind of chuckle there. I mean, Brad Marchand has had a few unique things after the wins. He's licked people. He's had the lick, maybe a potential kiss, all of that type of sport.
So this guy, as the announcers mentioned, licked and they've kissed people. Or he has licked and kissed people. He's, been an agitator his whole career. And people are freaking out about this. I think the player has a right to freak out because it wasn't called as a penalty. But this is a sport where fighting is allowed. If you think that somebody can grab you by the neck in a sport where fighting is allowed, if he came up and punched the guy's face, he'd get like a 3-game suspension. He wouldn't be kicked of the sport. If the other guy fought back, there'd be no suspension. They would just fight. So the idea that you can't try to choke someone and that's worse than punching somebody in the face or cross-checking them in the back or hitting them on open ice, that's insane. And this is just how hockey works now. Hockey works now by being incredibly submissive. You're allowed to fight on the ice. You're allowed to hit people. But anything that's outside of what has been grandfathered in, which is those 2 things, is supposed to be bad and evil. And they do this very gradually with their BLM stuff, their COVID stuff, their diversity panel, their Pride nights. Right after they got rid of Pride nights, or Pride jerseys, and really generically they just did no warm-up jerseys. But right after they announced that, they hired a DEI team. They've admitted that there's racism in hockey. They say that there needs to be more, black people working in front offices. All this stuff you hear in everything. Hockey's way ahead of it. And why? Because it's a mostly Canadian thing. I'm sorry to say, hockey fans, more than any other sport, will put up with anything. They put up with people kneeling in hockey for some reason. They put up with a diversity team. They put up with promoting transgenderism. The Florida Panthers, rest in peace, are doing that now on their latest jersey. They've had people protest by using pride tape, rainbow-colored tape on their stick. You've had the best player in the league, Connor McDavid, come out and say, I know everybody on my team supports transgender people. It's really just weird stuff. It's really a product of these kids growing up and they're being told to not shake any cages ever. Never stand out in any way except for being good at hockey. That's how they're raised, and the culture is sort of shut up and skate, which in some ways can be good, but at the end of the day, then they end up getting trampled on over and over. The game just keeps getting worse. The rules keep getting worse. The management of it keeps getting worse. The Toronto Maple Leafs general manager once said he wished he had more black players. A very weird thing to say. So hockey just keeps getting worse and worse, and players like him will not be tolerated in the future. He is a relic of the past. He's actually, in his late 30s now, I think. That won't be tolerated in the future. A new guy comes out and puts his hand on somebody's neck, that's going to be deemed transphobic. He's gone. That's an Adam's apple check. He's gone. So I just want to warn everybody that you can't get away with this forever as a fan. I'm saying you can't keep supporting this thing that's blatantly so weak and pathetic. Hockey reporters are the worst. Toronto Canadian reporters are the worst. You've seen this in the UFC. You saw when Sean Strickland got questioned by that guy over transphobia. That's a typical Toronto reporter for sports. He thinks that's a normal thing to say because that's what they say. To anyone gets out of line in hockey, they say, well, are you transphobic? Are you racist? And they're just like, I'm doing my job here. I've questioned this athlete on his political views and pretty sure we're all better for it. They hunted down anybody who didn't wear a Pride logo on the back of their helmet, a rainbow. They hunted down people who didn't want to wear Pride jerseys, which eventually enough people stood up that they said, we're not going to do it anymore, but then immediately did a diversity council for the NHL. So the NHL is doomed. You can't get me to watch. I'm glad the Oilers lost last year because they are the most woke team in the league. They've always been the worst run team in the league. They're run like they're being operated by teenagers playing a video game. And when people freak out, and people are freaking out about this, and they were, when people freak out about a hand over a throat in any sport, that is because they either don't like the player doing it, or because there's some sort of mandate against this masculinity, against this type of physical violence, because they don't want it to be that way. On one hand, people at in the executive offices don't want bad publicity, but on the other hand, there is an attack on any sport that doesn't want to play ball with like weird gender bending leftist ideology. We've seen it. We've seen it in football. We've seen it in baseball, where people get mad. They run into problems with having so many Hispanics in baseball, so many black guys in basketball. They don't actually put up with it. The people that put up with it are these white guys who are silent, and they say, I'm just happy to be here. And I'm not asking you to go out and be a political martyr. I'm just saying, when is enough enough? When will hockey players actually rise up and say something? We're tired of the constant pride stuff. We're tired of the constant, DEI stuff. But they don't. They actually come out and say the opposite. Connor McDavid has gender reveals on the ice. He's super pro-trans. A bunch of the Leafs players go to charity balls where they celebrate transgender children. It's sick stuff. It's messed up stuff. And I don't think there's any saving the NHL. I want to leave you with this. These were the best teachers in school. Maybe not in college because you're paying for it. But I love this guy. I want to leave you with this.
Cause tonight will be the night that I will fall for you again. I'll really change my mind.
For audio listeners, this is a college professor who's waking people up by singing emo tunes to them. UnAuthorizedOpinions.com. Go subscribe. Please share. If you're listening audio only, we love you. Please leave us a review. We'll catch you next week.
Of course, very important when making a compelling argument.
Do you have that time to listen to me whine? Look like nothing and everything all at once.
Comprehension at all levels, including primary education.
Don't waste your time on me, you're already the voice inside my head.